Okay, guys, hey, what's up? It's Ashlyn here. Sorry, I look like crap. I was trying to do Screencastify, but I guess you only get 5 minutes now free, and then you have to like upgrade for like $69 per person, which is ridiculously priced. Otherwise, it's free for 5 minutes at a time for a video, and I don't do 5 minute videos. We all know this. All right. So what I was going to do, and I probably still can with the help of my trusty cell phone here, was I was going to go in here into my reading log, which you guys never really see. And I was going to go ahead and read off like some of the books that I gave 5 stars, what everybody else gave them on the Goodreads. So I was going to read off people's Goodreads account reviews. So I am in the process of also like trying to eat and drink. So I've got some chicken nuggets here. No, I did not buy them, Mom. They were bought for me, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't understand this. I'm a little confused, but we'll just go into my Goodreads on my phone. It's no biggie. So I had, so far, out of the 18 books I've read so far for March, I've had 2 5-star books. All right, so let me go into that. I came across this really interesting one about Elixir, which I wasn't a fan of when I first read it, and then I read it again. So let's go ahead, though, and start with The Unbecoming of Mara Dyer. It's way down here. Okay. So The Unbecoming of Mara Dyer by Michelle Hodkin. I gave it 5 stars. And 43% of the people that read this book gave it 5 stars. 30% gave it 4 stars, 16% gave it 3 stars, 5% gave it 2 stars, and 2% gave it 1 star. Okay. We're just not going to be able to show you, I guess, because my phone's being ridiculous. What? Okay. This is just going to be a sucky video. I apologize. So basically, you're just going to have to look at everything I have. Oh, look! When the brightness went down and then shut off. Let me see if I can turn my brightness down on my phone, and then we can go from there. Just give me 1 second. Okay, so Victoria Schwab in 2011 actually wrote a review for this book, okay? And she's another author. Her review goes as follows. Total page turner. One of those books I couldn't for the life of me put down because I needed to know what was happening. Chock full of twists and turns right up to the end and some amazing moments. Hey, Noah. And now I cannot wait to get my hands on the second book and learn more. Which, that's very true. I believe it's a trilogy. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I know there's another one. Emily May in 2015 on Goodreads gave it 1 star. She said, warning, this review contains flashing gifs and foul language. Excuse me, what is this fuckery? Is exactly what it says. Right there. That little GIF thing right there. It says, what is this fuckery? So I've spent 2 years avoiding this book. I remember in 2011 when I stumbled across that exciting GR description and pretty, if slightly creepy and discomforting cover, but my initial curiosity was quickly dampened by the reviews from my trusted Goodreads friends. And for nearly 2 years, I have listened. My intentions were to never give this book or series another thought until I recently came across this interesting page. 15 young adult books every adult should read, which I need to check that out and see what's on there and see how much I've actually read. Sorry, I had to sit down. And I noticed authors like Lori Halsey Anderson on the list. That's when something inside me rose up to meet the promise of a challenge. Plus, who knows, sometimes my favorite books of all time have been those I'd taken a chance on against the odds. But this book was just bad. The exciting premise is wasted on a novel that eats at the same lunch table as Twilight, Hush, Hush, and Fallen. The mysterious paranormal aspect opens up many avenues for the author to have explored, and yet she chooses instead to pick the dullest one. A cliched romance, and damn if this book isn't one huge glowing neon cliche. And one where a boring heroine with a severe lack of personality meets a ridiculously good-looking, sexy British bad boy who could have anyone he wants, and he somehow finds himself madly in love with her. Why? Well, that remains the biggest mystery of all. 2 words come to mind when I think back over this book: wish fulfillment. But yes, the other 2 words spring to mind a lot too. This novel is a very fine example of a certain brand of book that contains mediocre at best writing, unbelievably hot male love interest, and is an empty, easy sell for young teen girls. Noah really is quite laughably perfect if you like controlling jerks, but I'll get to that in a second. With his perfect face, hair, body, smile, etc. His massive fortune, his intelligence, which includes knowledge of 6 languages and large quotes from various classic novels. He is so flawless, I felt like he just rolled off the factory production line, spritzed, polished, and raring to go. Ah, yes, and about that controlling thing I mentioned, there's really no need to explain it in detail. I'll just pull up some quotes for you. So these are actual quotes from the book that she pulled off herself. And one is, Noah placed his forefinger above my upper lip and his thumb below my bottom lip and applied the slightest pressure, cutting me off. Shut up, he said quietly. What is Mara's response to his rudeness? I nodded feebly. You nodded? Feebly? What is wrong with you? I can't understand why you aren't all like, Ben. The waiter appeared then, and Noah plucked the menu from my hands and handed it over, rushing off our order in Spanish. The waiter departed for the kitchen. I shot him a dark look. I hadn't decided yet. Trust me. This also happens in 50 Shades of Grey. Christian orders for Anna without even asking what she'd like or if she's vegetarian or has any allergies. For one thing, it's flawed, but beyond that, it's just goddamn rude. What exactly is sexy about a guy not giving a damn what you want? When you look past the pretty description we are given of Noah's perfection, I find him incredibly unattractive, pretentious, and annoying. If I wasn't British myself, I think this book would give me a really bad opinion of British people. Almost as bad as Lindsay Lohan in the Parent Trap remake when she tells her American twin, I have class and you don't. His quote, because I'm European and therefore more cultured than you, might have been funny as an isolated incident, but Noah's repetition of similar declarations of cultural superiority with books, music, etc. just made me think that. I'm not saying that. I also think Mara is in desperate need of a new girlfriend because the girls in this book are all her enemies. Even her 2 friends at the beginning get separated into best friend and evil girl who's trying to steal best friend away. The word slut naturally appears several times in this novel, and usually when the characters are talking about mean girl Anna, who immediately decided to make Mara's life hell because Noah showed some interest in her. This beautiful quote sums up Anna's characterization. The list of what you're missing, Anna, is longer than the South Beach Free Clinic's walk-in list, Jamie said, and I was surprised to hear his voice. Though I'm sure your hookup resume includes the same names. Cue group laughter has good triumphs over the evil slut who doesn't deserve feelings. This always amazes me in these kind of books that were supposed to be sympathetic towards the MC and believe she is the victim and much more interesting because of her lack of sluttiness. I don't think I'll ever understand why that stuff matters. I've been picking out all these quotes throughout this review, but I've saved the best for last. If I had been drinking whilst reading this bit, I would have sprayed the contents of my mouth everywhere. I just can't. This is in response to Mara finding out about how Noah slept with a girl who was in love with him just to prove a point to the girl's brother. I should haul back and smack him, strike a blow for feminism or something, or at the very least, get out of the car. But then his thumb traced my skin, and without quite realizing it, I leaned toward him and rested my forehead against his. Like, what? To hell with feminism. Hot jerk is touching my face. So that's just one review. Sorry it's so long. There's a lot of 1-star reviews on here from 2013 and so on. The next one is the Retribution of Mara Dyer and then the Evolution of Mara Dyer. So it is a trilogy, I do believe. Yes, the Mara Dyer trilogy, and it's actually available. And then there's one called The Reckoning of Noah Shaw. So he even has a book of his own. So that's pretty interesting. Um, yeah, I didn't see that. There was one person that did a 5-star in 2016, Magda Mrazek, but it was just a rating, not a review. So I thought that was interesting when I came across that, and I just had to say something because I actually gave this book 5 stars. I don't think I rated it I rated it, but I don't think I actually did a review on it. No, it says write a review. Okay, so I didn't do a review on it. I just rated it. I don't usually do reviews. I really enjoyed it, but I didn't really know what to say in my review, so I didn't do one. But we'll find another one. We'll probably touch base on one that you guys probably don't even know about yet that I want to get talked about. So give me 1 second. All right, so the next one that I read is Little Disasters by Sarah Vaughan. It is not out yet. I got this as an ebook review, but this is what it looks like. There you go. That's what it looks like. And I gave it 5 stars, and it's gotten 125 ratings and a 4.13 out of 5, so that's not horrible. 39% gave it 5 stars, 38% gave it 4 stars, 19% gave it 3 stars, 2% gave it 2 stars, and nobody has given it a 1 star yet. And there's only 3 reviews on here, but I think they're super long. I will go ahead and read mine. So my review was, I was given the opportunity by NetGalley to receive an ebook copy of this book before pub date for my honest review. I love this book. It clearly opens up to honest truths we as parents have thought. Even the best mothers have had these beginning thoughts before. Nobody is perfect. We all lose our temper. I honestly will say this book was triggering in so many ways, and my mouth fell open at many points. I mean, I honestly don't know what I would do if my friend, whom I thought I knew, was being so shifty when me being their nurse finds a big goose egg on the back of her 10-month-old's head, and neither parent can give any explanation and plays it off as normal. I am going to stop there because there is so much more. Just read the book. This has definitely made my top 10 for 2020 already. Keep an eye out for this book due to release in August 2020. So this is a little spoiler alert type thing. This book is really good though. I honestly have to say. Its expected publication date for you guys is August 18th of 2020, but I already read it. Let's see. February 10th, Dory hyphen cats and books smiley face rated it 4 stars, and this is her review. Okay, this video is going to kind of be long. I'm going to do one more book after this, just so you guys know. This is a fast-paced drama mystery which I tore through pretty quickly. Miss Vaughn writes a heartbreaking story with humanity, realism, and characters that I grew to understand and care for. Jess is a mother of 3. Her youngest, Betsy, 10 months old, is not at all like her 2 older boys. She is a baby who is often inconsolable and requires a lot of holding, nursing, and attention, and Jess has felt overwhelmed pretty much since her birth. She felt as though she had things under control and organized until Betsy was born. Her husband, Ed, is supportive but often absent. He works long hours and pretty much leaves the parenting to Jess. As a mother of 4 daughters, I could relate to some of the isolation and feelings of helplessness when a newborn continues to cry and cry despite all of your efforts. I can even remember putting my baby in her crib, closing the door, and going away for 15 minutes or so to collect myself. It happens to most mothers at some point, I think, if we are all being honest, which is true. It does. And they say, sometimes you gotta let your baby self-soothe, especially a 10-month-old can self-soothe. They're not too young and they're not too old. Anyway. Jess has a group of friends, including Charlotte, Mel, and Liz, who formed a friendship during prenatal classes for their firstborn children. Since Betsy was born, Jess has felt isolated, and yet she is so unsure of herself, scared of some of her inner thoughts that she fails to reach out for help, even from her closest friends. The drama begins when Betsy is brought into the ER by Jess with a head injury. Liz, a pediatrician on call in the hospital, is called to the ER when Betsy is brought in. Because of their friendship and hospital protocol, the child's care is quickly shifted to another pediatrician. When they perform a scan, they discover an injury that doesn't fit with the admission statement that Jess made. Quickly, social services is called in, the police get involved, and Jess's care of her children is brought into question. It was a very, very sad moment. I actually had my mouth hanging open and was almost in tears because I could not imagine being in this mother's, like, you know, thing. But the ending, whoa. Okay. Her husband, Ed, begins to question Jess's explanation also and wonders why she didn't share his sense of urgency until he had shouted at her in frustration and threatened to call a cab to take the baby himself. Jess had taken quite some persuading, had insisted that Betts must just have a virus, and initially accused him of overreacting. Slowly as we work backwards through the story, told mostly in the voices of Jess and Liz, we find that Jess had an unhappy childhood, which is one reason why she has tried to be perfect. We can feel her self-distrust when some of her visions of causing harm to her child are revealed. She has been struggling and very unhappy for a long time. Her friend Liz has a large part in the story. She also had a difficult childhood. She has a lot of empathy for Jess and tries to do what she can to help her and her family. She will be the one who ultimately finds out what truly happened to this little girl. There are several twists to the story, and just when I thought the novel was wrapping up, another layer was exposed, which explained everything. And she's right, it does. It really does. There is much to think about in this book and very pertinent to our times. Mothers are often meant to be everything: a mother, a career woman, a wife, and taking care to get exercise to keep her figure in pre-baby shape. I think this quote says a lot. Perfectionism is a dangerous state of mind in an imperfect world. Robert Hillier. I would recommend this book to anyone who enjoys a well-written, character-driven drama. And she received an arc of this novel from the publisher through Edelweiss. The novel is set to publish in August of 2020. So yeah, gosh, this book, I just couldn't believe how fantastic this book was. It really did make my top 10 for 2020, for sure. And I'm surprised that it did, because I don't usually have a top number. But the last one we're going to go ahead and discuss is Elixir. So give me 1 second to find that one, and we'll get into it. Okay, so I read Elixir, which is the first book of a series by Hilary, Duff, and Elise Allen. Okay, and I gave it 4 stars. And 23% gave it 5 stars, 29% gave it 4 stars, 28% gave it 3 stars, 12% gave it 2 stars, and 5% gave it 1 star. Okay, so I came across this. This is from Morgan F., and she rated it in 2010 a 1 star. Okay, she says, I'm warning you now, this is more of a rant than a cohesive, intelligent review. It will be filled with spoilers and an unladylike language, so people of delicate sensibilities take heed. I like Hilary Duff. I grew up with her and Lizzie McGuire and even rocked the Lizzie hairstyle for a while. I think she has grown into a nice young starlet as opposed to, well, this, as in her book. I was curious about this book after seeing her name on it. I was interested. How much of it did Hilary actually write? Did she just tell Elise Allen write about soulmates and then go and get a manicure? Or did she come up with plot herself, with Elise Allen only writing it down on paper? I think after reading it that I know the answer. I believe this is how the conception of this book transpired. And this is really messed up. I have to say, this is sad. Hilary's manager walks into Borders mistakenly, absolutely absorbed into keying things into his BlackBerry. It is only when he walks into a table, toppling over a pile of books, that he looks up and acknowledges his surroundings. Hey, this isn't Saks. But then his eye is drawn to a picture of Lauren Conrad on the back of Sweet Little Lies. He smirks because he has his suspicions how much of the book Lauren actually wrote. Surprisingly, he sees multiple teenagers in the checkout line with the book in hand. He thinks, Hilary is 10 times prettier and smarter and nicer than Elsie. Then a brilliant idea forms in his head. Hilary's name plus YA book equals new sports car. Excitedly, he gathers a copy of every YA book in the store and rushes back to the office to make some phone calls. Hey, Hilary, babe, how would you like to write the ultimate YA book? Next time, Hilary just say no. This book infuriated me. How stupid do publishers think teens are? This is the same typical formula for every other YA paranormal book out there, except wrapped up in a different dress. There was nothing special about it. No spark, The writing was dead and lifeless, as were all the characters. I was bored out of my mind with the predictability of it all when I wasn't in a rage of seething hot fury. Clea Raymond, the narrator, is horrible. She has no personality and nothing that distinguishes her from every other YA heroine out there. Her name is also too close to Claire for my liking, and those of you who've read my other rants know my reasoning for that. Clea is a stupid, vapid girl who became absolutely insufferable after she discovered true love. That's right, folks. She has a soulmate. But don't be too jealous of her now. She also has the inexplicable burden of being caught in the middle of a love triangle. What would a YA book be without one of those? Of course, Clea had no idea her BFF Ben had feelings for her until he started being a jealous prick. Clea, you give a bad name to women everywhere. We're girls. We always know. Platonic friends, my ass. Of course, I could have forgiven the book for this. Love triangles are a staple because they create drama and act as filler. Except this one was so blatantly one-sided. We all know Clea loves Sage, her soulmate guy, who's also immortal. Clea herself is kind of immortal, but more on that later. I might be spoiling things a little here, but suck it up. I'm trying to save you here. Clea and Sage had known each other less than a week. At first, Clea thought he was a crazy stalker. Then she thought he was a serial killer, dead set on sending her to the grave. Then all of a sudden, they were kissing, telling each other how much they loved each other, and having sex in a car. First off, if a guy, with the exception of Leonardo DiCaprio, lets you lose your virginity in a car, he does not really love you. Second off, this guy has been around for 500 years. Do you know how many STDs he could have contracted in that time? I don't care if he's immortal. As my health teacher said, herpes can affect anybody. And lastly, what the fuck, Leah? Ew, I just got a cat fur in my mouth. You have known this guy 1 week, and up until a few hours ago, you thought he was going to kill you. Why? And then, of course, from then on, it causes her physical pain to be away from her saggy poo. Gag me. I blame Claire's whore friend, Raina. Raina, as Clea describes her, is a romantic who finds a new soulmate every time she leaves the house. There are words for those kinds of girls, so don't go beating around the bush. Anyway, Raina gives Clea the poetic advice of don't think, just feel, right before Clea goes off alone with Sage, the soulmate stranger serial killer. No, no, no. Think first, Clea. Think first. Do you want to become a statistic? This book is all your fault, Raina, and I hate you. Yeah, this thing still goes on. When everyone wasn't talking about soulmates, they were trying to figure out the mystery of where Clea's father disappeared to. Of course, the focus of the book turned to Sage as soon as he appeared. But anyway, the beginning was rather slow, but then everything happened like bam, bam, bam. Any information the reader found out was in clumps under circumstances that were too convenient for my liking. It was frustrating. A part I did enjoy was all of Clea's past lives, but those were clumped up and rushed. I think it would have been better to have them dispersed throughout the novel. The ending was also extremely abrupt with so many questions unanswered, which is true. I wanted to punch a baby at first, but then I realized the book was over, so then I felt happy again. Here are a list of my questions or complaints. So I'm curious about this as myself. 1, does Clea not have to go to school? I'm not sure what time of the year this book is taking place, but Clea is still able to drop everything and go to South America or Japan whenever she feels like it, with only 2 boys for company. 2, why do people in Japan know who Clea is? Since when is being a senator's daughter such a flippin' big deal that people on the other side of the world know who you are? I don't even know my senator's names. 3, why is Clea's mother so horrible? She just lets Clea have total independence. Want to go to Peru? Go ahead. Guam? Why not? Afghanistan? Be sure to bring lots of sunscreen. And you would think her daughter apparently being such a big deal and all, she might have Clea assigned a bodyguard or something. Nope. 4, why does Clea love Sage? He has no personality. She literally just decides she loves him. They didn't even have great chemistry. And then, let's not forget, she thought he was going to kill her. 5, why are Clea and Ben immortal too? I understand Sage, somewhat, since he drank the elixir, but there is not explanation for Clea and Ben to have their souls being reborn again and at random intervals. 6, what's a soul? I know what my definition of a soul is, but this book has me all confused. Why is Clea so talented in some lives, like being a singer, artist, or actress, but has no apparent talent in this life? Does a soul just mean you have the same personality or lack of it? 7. Why does Sage show up in Clea's pictures? Why is he sometimes floating and sometimes not? Ugh, no sense. 8. Is this the only time Clea is aware of her past lives, or has she had the same dreams in her past? And number 9. Since Ben always seems to be the problem, why don't they just kill him? There, problem solved. See you again in another 100 years. I'm just so done with this crappy YA paranormal. They're all the same. My intelligence is being insulted. So that was pretty deep. Someone said I've concluded that 1, I will definitely not be reading this book, and 2, Duffy deserved your smite stick. Claire's at it sitting on my shelf. I guess I'll have to read it one day. Great review. Yeah, it wasn't, when I first read it, it wasn't that great. I actually DNF'd it because I just didn't care. But yeah, those are 3 books that, you know, are on my read list for March, so you guys get a little thing of that. I'm gonna start doing that more often, I think. I'm gonna go more based off of my 5 stars. So I'm gonna see like how I do 5 stars, and then everybody else what they rate that book, and take a couple of the really good reviews and read them out for you guys, because not everybody can get on Goodreads. I know that for a fact. A lot of people don't even know what Goodreads is. I came across Goodreads because of BookTube, but if you're new to the YouTube BookTube world community, we don't always fully talk about our Goodreads accounts. So I think I'm going to go ahead and start reading reviews more often for you guys, because I think that'd be a lot of fun. And as soon as I figure out the Screencastify, if anybody knows about the Screencastify stuff, comment down below and let a girl know. But with all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here and do another stockpile of videos for you guys and work on some information in the description boxes on my other videos. And I will see you in the next one. Just be sure to hit that notification bell. I think it's here or here, one of the bottom corners on the video. So, but yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!